I'm Kristen Gaylord, Hertzfeld Curator of Photography and Media Arts at the Milwaukee Art Museum and co-curator of Moving Pictures here at the Carter. In 1919, when Struss arrived in Hollywood, he was new to the film industry, but he was, of course, a well-practiced and skillful photographer. He wanted to get behind a moving picture camera immediately, but his first job was actually as a still photographer. He worked for Cecil B. DeMille, the most important director of Famous Players-Lasky, and a huge sort of titan in the early years of the Hollywood industry. It's a testament to Struss's skill that within his first year of being a Hollywood still photographer, he made what is still probably considered his most iconic film still, an image for the 1919 film Male and Female of Gloria Swanson in the Lion's Den. Swanson wrote about this experience in her autobiography. She actually lay there with a live, awake lion on her back while the film crew was safe behind bars, filming through them to capture this iconic scene. The still taken by Struss is even closer than the actual clip from the film, really giving a sense of the danger of the moment. Apparently, Cecil B. DeMille, the director, was very anxious about this shot and actually asked Swanson that day if she was willing to go through with it. But she said she wanted to do it, and thank goodness she did, because it's become a really important image showing the glamour and the inventiveness of early film in Hollywood. Images like this one that sort of capture a scene that's in the full feature-length film were not the only kinds of images that Struss was making as a still photographer. He also made studio portraits of actors in costumes, set reference images that helped the crew keep continuity as they reshot scenes over and over again. And a lot of these images were for the use of the studio itself, but many of them were intended to go out into the public eye. Images of the scenes of the movie could be used as advertisements to entice people. They were reproduced in magazines and newspapers, much like film stills are today. But while nowadays digital imagery means that we can just pull something straight from the moving picture, Struss himself recreated all of these images with a still camera. It was a separate process, and so you needed someone who was a really accomplished photographer to do that. One of the reasons Struss was so highly valued when he became a still photographer in Hollywood was his lighting ability. He had made studio portraits and also personal portraits back in New York, and he often favored a really backlit, soft sort of image that obscured the figure a little bit to make it a more universal or romantic figure. But that, of course, is not what the studio executives would want for a Hollywood image of a starlet. So in images like this of Bebe Daniels in costume for Male and Female, he still has a soft sort of romantic light, but we need to be able to see the starlet's face, and he is able to accomplish that too. In the film, Bebe Daniels actually plays a quite minor character, so not even in the main body of the film, but a sort of dream sequence or fantasy sequence. But Struss's image of her is so beautiful and evocative that it's become one of the better known images from the film, showing the power that still photography had and film stills had to represent the entirety of a movie. DeMille was not known as a man who was easily impressed, but he was quickly impressed by Karl Struss. Struss's proficiency with a still camera convinced DeMille to put him behind a moving picture camera only days into his first contract. He also, we think, hired Struss to take images of himself, portraits of DeMille, the director, at his home. And Struss really captures the intensity and power and brilliance of this famous director.